Hey YouTube, oh Wedgie here. I figure I'd do a little bit of hovering and some practice with the Apache. Let's see, what am I doing here? Okay, yeah, I'll go here. I use a target practice mission that I created. It's kind of, well, not early morning, but it's at around 10 a.m. and there are a lot of targets that I can shoot at if I want to, but for this I don't have to. I'm just gonna, I mean, they're about 15, the targets are about 15 minutes away, so I'm not gonna fly to them and mess with them, even though a few do end up coming into my area of operation. But basically I'm just going to go over my general startup procedures on the Apache and do some hovering. So real quick, I'll show you what I'm armed with. I got 8 Limas, and I think those are M263 AG rockets. I think that's what they are. And then I've got the internal tank instead of the large magazine for the chain gun, because I am running unlimited ammo but limited fuel. So go ahead and get this started. Batteries on. Open the APU cover, APU start, close canopy, turn on my countermeasures, but I'm not going to arm them. Okay. Let's see. I'll go weapon, bore sight, IHADs, turn the primary all the way up. I've got shortcuts on my Stream Deck, which is friggin' phenomenal. So I'll get my bore sight here. Okay. Go back to TSD. Alright. Do my gunner after I turn on the TADs. Bore sight. Alright, bore sighting is done. Okay. Secondary instrument uncaged. Turn on my externals. Alright, let's go ahead and fire up the engines. Go ahead and get that cursor lined up where I want it. Okay. Go ahead and start number 2. Give me a second here. I'm gonna turn off my preview on OBS. There we go. It's eating some resources, I think. Okay. Number 2 is fired up. Alright. Bring up my throttles. Okay. Throttles are up. APU off. Alright, I'm just waiting on the INS. Oof. I think this is going to be a short little video though. I mean, I do have some things I got to do today. Let's see. Alright, INS is aligned. Alright. Point, add, waypoint, enter, enter, enter. Oh, and enter. Alright, route, add, select, there. Oops, go back to that. 25 mile range, or 25 click range. Alright, there we go. Okay. Give me 30%. Approximately. And let's taxi out. So I'll start hovering right about here. So what I've noticed is I do better if I don't use the force trim. Whoa. I can just come right up and then I gotta stay on the stick. Pay attention to what your scenery is doing. Look at your scenery. Don't try not to look at that little ball in the middle unless you absolutely have to. I've noticed that's what helps me. Pay attention to what's going on outside the aircraft, not your symbology. And you can get it rock solid if you're having difficulties. So, of course, once you get it locked in, I mean, then, yeah, if you want to use the auto hover, whoa, see, that's where I get crazy. Slam it down. I got invincibility turned on too. For when I'm doing practice. So I don't have to deal with exiting out and restarting. Invincibility helps when you're trying to learn this shit. It's something I picked up from Flight Simulator 2020. Or, well, earlier than that even. FSX, Flight Simulator 98 days. turn on invincibility or turn off damage, so that way you can crash all you want on the landings until you start getting them right. But once you got it, so now I got force trim turned on, and then I can turn on attitude hold, turn on altitude hold, and I got a little bit of a drift. It's taking it out though. So I mean, there's my hover, rock solid. But that's a computer held hover though. It's cheating. But the real Apache can do this shit, so. And then when you disable everything, you kind of go a little crazy. So you gotta get control back. Just remember, whatever move you put in, you gotta counter it. Like if you go left, eventually you're gonna have to go right. And you're constantly moving your feet too on the pedals. Making sure you have that locked in. So let's go ahead and do some forward flight. Do some passes up and down the runway. So when I really want to start heading out, I mean, I'll jack up the torque like crazy. That's probably not the proper way of doing it. I'm not sure. But it gets me up to speed really quick. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm almost at 120 knots right now. So ease up on the collective when you whip it around, otherwise you're going to rip your rotor blades off. I do tend to watch my torque though, even though, I mean, yeah, granted I have damage turned off. I still tend to try to pay attention to what's going on with the helicopter. Try to avoid getting any cautions. Try to keep Betty quiet. So let's whip it around here. I love flying this thing. It's so different than Flight Simulator. The helicopters in Flight Simulator don't simulate near enough as far as rotary wing aerodynamics. Do an orbit around this radar truck. but it's definitely a fun helicopter to fly. And she can be a little squirrely, no doubt about it. And you see how I'm porpoising quite a bit. Getting that nose bob. Now this is where I tend to have some difficulty on my slowdowns. I want to try to keep it around 100 feet in altitude. It wasn't too bad. Now I need to get control out. Get stable. So that way my gunner can do his job. So I hit my force trim here. Altitude, attitude hold. Oops. Let's get my altitude back. There. Oops. Nope. Almost had it. Let's see. Do I have it? Nope. Come on, grab it. There we go. It's got it. Rock solid. It was a 100-foot hover. And then that way your gunner would be able to do his job easier if it was a hover attack. So we're back in full manual mode. Actually, go back to that symbology. Damn it, come on. Okay. But yeah, I tend to have some difficulty, especially if I'm flying by myself. And I mean, I go to the gunner's seat and I'm using George to fly. Of course, George flies like he's drunk, I think. I don't like George. But, okay, I'm right at about 70 knots, 120 feet. And then when I switch back, well, this one was different because, of course, I knew I was going to turn. Whoa. I got a little low there. So, alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and park it. And that might be it for this video, because I just wanted to do a short little demo of basically how I practice in DCS. But I'll bring it in So we'll go ahead and set it down here. Whoa. Nice and gentle like. Okay. Get about 30% stable on your torque, and then that's what you want to use to taxi. And that should do it. All right. Set the parking brake. Turn on the APU. And okay, APU's on. I can throttle down and kill my mains. Now, something I've learned, I guess this is mainly from my RC helicopter, is once you're low enough on your RPM, you can pull pitch, and that helps slow your rotors down quicker. I think I'd actually heard of a real helicopter pilot doing that. I can't remember if I had or not. But yeah, that's my basic run. Just a little bit of practice. But yeah, I mean, the hovering was probably the most difficult part for me to get in the beginning. Just keep practicing. For me, my weak point now is slowing into a hover, especially out of ground effect. That is a trouble point for me, so it's something I'm going to continue to work on. But anyways, well, thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching, and see you later.